Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. Today we will discuss about the economic condition of the country. India's economy is recovering faster than anticipated according to Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. She said today that there are improvements in various parameters of the economy and that the country can see positive growth in the third quarter of the current financial year. At the same time, according to the RBI, India is in technical recession. So what is the actual condition of the Indian economy? We will try to understand this in the agenda today with two experts on economy, Abhishek Rajaram and Ajay Prakash. But before we begin our conversation, let us have a look at this small report.
Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman today projected a rosy picture about India's economy. She said the economy is recovering faster than anticipated by economists. To justify her argument, she said energy consumption, GST collection and rail freight revenues have witnessed a jump, indicating that the economy is in the recovery mode. Sitharaman also said that RBI has predicted strong likelihood of the economy returning to positive side in third quarter of the financial year 2020-21. She said the Moody's has also reassessed India's GDP for 2020 to minus 8.9% against minus 9.6% and projected 8.6% GDP in the year 2021 against the earlier projection of 8.1%. On the other hand, the RBI has said that the Indian economy has entered a technical recession for the first time in history at the end of the first half of the year 2020-21. After an unprecedented decline of 23.9% in GDP in April-June quarter, the RBI has now cast that GDP for July-September quarter is set for a contraction of 8.6%. The NSO estimates for the second quarter expected at the end of November 2020 will formally bear out the extent of improvement that occurred in quarter gone by, the RBI said in a State of the Economy report. At the same time, it is said there is optimism that the revival of economic activity is stronger than the mere satiation of pent-up demand released by unlocking and rebuilding of inventories. If this upturn is sustained in the ensuing 2 months, there is a strong likelihood that the Indian economy will break out of the contraction of the 6 months gone by and return to positive growth in the third quarter of the year 2020-21, it said. Bureau Report.
Now let's welcome our guests Abhishek Rajaram and Ajay Prakash. Welcome to the program. So my first question is to Abhishek Rajaram. You must have heard Nirmala Sitharaman presenting a rosy picture about India's economy. She says that third quarter will be positive. But at the same time, RBI has said that India is in a technical recession. So what is your view on this?
That recession is inevitable at this moment. Government is trying to make a rosy picture because of the festival season, and patting their own back is not going to help. Actually, it's not going to help. The government has run out of ideas how to come out of this recession. Merely stating numbers is not going to help them. For example, Kamath Committee recommended that should be given for 26 sectors. They came in October, they provided relief only to the 8th sector. They said, now after 1 month, they have to revise their own position, and now they have to provide relief to all 26 sectors. So why they don't respect institutions? Why they don't respect professionals? For example, now we are in R 3.2. First came on 12th of May, second came on 12th of October, and now third is 12th of November. Now, for example, in the first slide itself, Madam Finance Minister has said that the stock market is on record high. So what does she mean to say? That stock market is going to portray where the economy is going? Now we have our average PE is in the range of, it is our average PE. And today our PE Nifty 50 is around 34. Now, is it a rosy picture? No. The market are overrated. There's no actual fundamentals with 30,000 Sensex. But studied about it? No. They are saying, okay, we have a good market capitalization. So then they say that we have a $560 billion. But what about our loan position? Is it net position? What about, they say that, composite purchase manager index has rose to 58 points. What about unemployment? What about the positions where there is no job cut but salaries have been cut? Is it going to help? No. I think today this point has been raised by Finance Minister herself. When she said, okay, we have about 1 lakh crore rupees to income tax assessors. But why this 1 lakh crore rupees was stuck up with you? From yes, you are running the government. If you are not giving us a due, she's accepted this point that this, I am adding this because we are refunding it. And this is your money. So if it is my money and you are refunding my money, then can it be part of your package? No. You have reduced TDS rate, TCS rate by 25%. But what about actual reduction in TDA or income tax rate? I get 1,25,000 crore rupees last year, but you have not provided any relief to individuals. And purchasing power is stuck up with the individual. And providing benefits to the individuals, you have come with two sets of one set, you can go to old notes and have, in the new set, you don't have a deduction and you go with the flat tax, which has ultimately created more confusion than solving the problem.
Okay, Mr. Rajaram, I'll come back. Mr. Rajaram, I'll come back to you. I'll ask now. Ajay Prakash is also with us, so I want to ask him his initial comments on this Finance Minister's statement and RBI projection.
Yeah, today, what our Finance Minister has said, and she has expanded very strongly of economy, where we find that robust economy coming up, and in this we find that the increase in employment, there has been an expansion in the loan sector, there has been an extension of sector. So if we look at the economy, we do find that the stock market of the country is at its highest, as high as it is.
The way the stock markets are behaving is something for analysts to study. The reason is that all the people who were able to get some kind of income, and even the foreign institutional investors, they are finding that the Indian stock market may be the place to invest. The reason is they don't have other places to invest. Maybe it comes up more so because India is having a larger population and they find that yes, there is a possibility of expansion of growth in this sector. But this kind of indicator where we find that the stock market is at its highest is an aberration, and maybe it's not the reality, it may be there for a very short time. So this is one indicator. Another one, we find that yes, employment is increasing, but employment and the real salary and wages that people are getting is once again a disparity. People are not getting the same wages which they were getting before. There has been a decrease in the wages. Yes, MNREGA has been able to come out and pull out people out of poverty, especially during the COVID time, because of such kind of issues. But on the other hand, what has happened is people are staying back at their villages, because of which they are not coming out to the cities and the production centers. And the cities and production centers are hence in a mess. They are not able to produce. So maybe if we look at the level of imports from other countries, we have not been able to reduce those imports. They've been there in the same frame as they were before. Yes, if we are talking about the extension of farm loan to farmers, I think that has been one of the greatest sectors. So we do find that farmers have benefited through various subsidies and farm loans. So that is an area of expansion. Looking at the loans, if we are talking to bank managers, quite often they say that maybe we are just retraining the portfolios of the bank because the amount of loans that we are giving, they may be the same but under a different guise under the new scheme. So maybe there is loans and expansion of loans may not be there, but new rates of loans may be there and new loans may be there. So this is some kind of a scenario which we find. But yes, we also have to understand, especially during these COVID times, all what the government is doing, probably it is trying to put nuts and bolts at most of the places wherever it thinks it can and it can make India strong. Yes.
Right. Right. Mr. Rajaram, as you must have heard Mr. Ajay Prakash talking about nuts and bolts being utilized, resorted to by the government. So, in that respect, as Finance Minister announced today, the subsidy for employment and eligibility for the new employment, which will be effective from 1st October 2020, and the subsidy will be there for 2 years. So, how do you see that? Is it aimed at generating employment which has been at very lower during the last few months?
These sort of measures are effective for getting employment below 15,000 rupees per month salary. And this is not a new measure which has been announced. This has been extension of the earlier measure which was continued till October. Now the limit has been extended till 30th June 2021 and the benefit would be for next 2 years. If you provide employment to, if you are in 50 category, then minimum 2, and if you are in more than 50 category, then you have minimum 5, and then the other criteria 1,000 employees below or above, and then if it is below 1,000, then it is 24% of the EPF, and if it is more than 1,000, then it is only 12% is for the employees. There is a whole thing, but that is only for very small sector, and that is only for the lowest level of the. Now, coming up to a situation which government is not addressing is the white collar job. Second thing, job salary cut. Many people have got a salary. They have been working from their home, or there are cases where people were working in the informal sector. And when the salaries have been cut, now there is a problem. And the biggest challenge which I see in coming days is real estate sector. There are so many problems with the real estate sector. For example, if you allow me to explain,
Yeah, please.
a company was working with say 3 offices. Now they have reduced to 1 office. They have left the 2 offices and given their staff work from home. Now some of my people have removed their drivers. Some have removed the pantry boys, which were at the lowest level, and the rental office has been left. Now the owner of that office, maybe he is on bank loan, and he now has a problem with paying his own EMI. Second thing, which today, point number 6, which Madam Minister announced, the demand boosters for residential real estate. She is saying that because economic slowdown, there has been decline in of residential. So we are improving the margin of 10%. That is the difference between actual registry and the circle. So up to 20%.
If there is a difference, then if you are doing the registration below 20% of the circle rate, then we are not going to charge you or open up this section for investigation.
That is for residential only.
The problem is, now the government is
The residential unit prices have reduced. So ideally they should have reduced the circle rate. this would lead to lesser collection of duty. So to keep their income intact,
because if you depend on the circle rate, stamp duty will be paid on the circle.
so to get extra amount out of stamp duty, they are rather than reducing the stamp rate or circle rate, what they are saying up to 20% difference we are accepting. Is this a job? Is this a benefit? No, you are saying
But
I will not open litigation against.
but Mr. Rajaram, government also needs to earn, no, and keep earning and
So earning should be reasonable. Tax should be collected with people. In GST, they are more than 40 for tax due. The penalties, interest, late fees are more than the taxes due. So are we running in this kind of government where government can earn out of something which is not legally due? Should the excess penalty
Interest be more than the tax due. If this is the government, you come with the slogan, maximum government. Do you remember 2013-14?
right, right.
Or this is the slogan,
So let me now,
minimum government maximum.
yes.
Came on the slogan ease of doing business. Is this ease of doing business?
Okay, let me ask Mr. Ajay Prakash, is this ease of doing business? So is government justified in earning revenues?
Yeah, it's actually a double kind of a issue now. Especially post-COVID, the things are very different. Initially, the government was trying to go ahead with ease of doing business, and because of this ease of doing business, what we were finding was that there was single window which was being created for many new kinds of businesses which were going to come up. But that actually started off, and the moment it started off, we found that now there is some issue with COVID and things like that.
Found that now COVID and things like that. Now COVID has given a completely new picture about what Ramji was saying. Now everything what we are talking about, doing work from home. So now doing work from home is actually becoming, and maybe it no more relates to, despite the fact COVID may be there, may not be there, does not make any difference. The companies are working from home. So from home, let's see how the global scenario is shaping up. There were many organizations who were there even globally. They were asking for some kind of direct face-to-face working in the offices. Now they have closed down shops. Even they have a longer and a better scope for work done from their own people. Initially,
Yeah, maybe switched off in some time from now. And if that is switched off, then automatically they are going to resort to their own people, which is going to strengthen their own economy. Not only this, if you look at the value addition at different places, they will be in a position to add greater value simply because they reduce the costs of their office. We can well think, when this has been the case in the education industry, leave aside any other industry. Because in education industry, you require a very clear face-to-face working. But in others, you might not require. So when it is the case of education industry as it is, then all others are easily prone to such kind of an issue. So that is where now the government has to look at how to generate employment. It has to be employment generation more like the Swadeshi way, exactly in the same manner in which Gandhiji was saying, maybe even we go ahead with cottage industries, we go ahead with some small specific sections in the society, because employment in the near future is going to be a bit difficult. What Rajaramji was saying just now was maybe say reducing from one office, reducing to one office from three. Maybe I think the scenario is even worse. They are reducing to just one head office from even 10 or 20 offices. So they are just operating with it. Let me also tell you something more. Corona is just a part of it. Globally, it has been for the last 2 years that organizations, global organizations, they've been talking about cloud computing. They've been talking about moving to the cloud. Some of the biggest distributors in the world have already started off this in the last 2 years. So it was much more like a boon to them that they wanted to come onto it. Maybe this is controversial what I am going to say just now, but let's have a debate even on this. Sometimes some of the top computer firms are said that they have actually created this kind of a hype of corona and things like that. So probably if you relate my statements related to cloud, and those big organizations, they were the ones that wanted cloud to come up. So they are one of the biggest beneficiaries. So maybe this may just be controversial, but maybe we have to talk, because when we are discussing, we should surely talk about different scenarios.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes,
Mr. Rajaram, you heard about Mr. Ajay Prakash saying that we should develop our own indigenous economy, and so in that context Atmanirbhar is being given a big push by the government. How do you see that?
That's exactly which should have been done by so many years, and I welcome government on this, because unless we are self-reliant, unless we do manufacturing ourselves, we would be dependent on other countries, and that would create a negative impact on us. And that's why today government announced performance link incentive also.
Right.
Performance link incentive has been announced, and it is 1.46 lakh crore rupees for 10 sectors: advanced cell chemistry, advanced technology. And Prime Minister in his statement on 12th of May has also said that we should be vocal for local, and that's the best thing. And government has also said that we should buy Indian toys. Remember? Prime
Right.
Minister has himself asked us to every to buy Indian toys.
Right.
Now the issue is that merely by saying can we get Indian toys, is there any policy announced by the government? Is there any policy announced by the government? Have they provided or listed any sort of capital subsidy or subsidy on manufacturing sector, subsidy for electricity, or any relaxation in GST rates, or any startup benefits in toy sector?
Basically incentives to give a push.
So do you have a policy? Have you come with a toy manufacturing government of India policy? So first time we have seen the government is pushing production linked incentive PLI for 10 sector, and which is almost 1.45 lakh crore, and that is very good. But again, whatever government is saying, whatever government is vocal about it, you don't see a policy against it. There is a big gap between what is government is saying and what policy they are making. So that's the only thing. If they mix and match, and if they both comes on the same platform, then of course India has to become manufacturing hub. Can't continue with such a huge population. Can't continue with being as a service sector. We have to come up with new manufacturing policy. We have to invest in artificial intelligence also.
But Mr. Rajaram, we already have Make in India program which has been running for last 6 years.
And what is the result of it?
You tell me.
That's the question. And if we both don't have an answer, then the question is answered in itself. In last 6 years, we have been hearing that India, everyone wants to invest in India. And when Corona came, we were told that every of the company from the China wants to come out of the China and want to invest somewhere. And in May also, government has said we have come with a pull. And from May, it is 6 months in November. Today is exactly 12th of November. From 12th of May, how many companies have invested in India? How many companies have invested in India?
Okay, our time is running
We have
out.
told-
So, Mr. Rajaram, time is running out. I want to ask Mr. Ajay Prakash on the same question. As we talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India program.
I'll just do it according to the time. Let me just come up with Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, as we say that there is actually a very big gap between the reality and what is actually being said. The specifics of Make in India program were never ever there, because of which we've not been able to achieve where we wanted to be. So maybe the objective of Make in India was not clear. Now, when we are talking about what they mean,
But Make in India was also part of Atmanirbhar Bharat and to actually boost
Correct.
manufacturing, isn't it?
Yeah, no. So, but if it is there, for example, if you say, I just want to go to the moon, but how do you go to the moon is more important rather than reaching the moon. So, when we are talking about Make in India has around 9 connotations. You are making in India for Indians, by Indians, you are making in India by Indians for foreigners, you are making in India by Indians for Indians and foreigners. So, maybe it has 9 permutations and combinations at different places. Whether you want to make it in India, you want to make it outside. Whether you want foreigners to come into India and so that specific is not clear. It is not clear. It is only clearing. It is getting clear only by the time as the time passes out, and maybe the time
No,
passing is
whatever I understand is basic idea was to make India a manufacturing hub and maybe later on be an exporter, big exporter.
So maybe as I told you, you are there nearly every day on the news channel, and despite that, you are saying maybe this is the idea. Maybe this is. So what I want is it has to be a clear idea where you can say no. These are the specifics. And if the specifics are there, you will be able to achieve. And when we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, maybe we support people so they are getting some kind of money. So what is happening is we need to realize where we want to go. So we should have a clear sector. For example, we came up with ODOT in Uttar Pradesh, one district, one product. So we wanted to grow those products, but even after 2 years, have we been able to market those products outside the country? Maybe we do have some there.
Okay, please be brief because I think Mr. Rajaram wants to make something comment.
So that is,
Yeah.
so that is where Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat actually they stand with the gap. That is what I want.
Okay. Mr. Rajaram, brief comments, maybe 20 seconds.
To become manufacturing hub, we have to work on made in India, not make in India. And after make in India, they gave a slogan, assemble in India. We have to come with made in India, not make in India.
Okay, so we had to look for made in India, but our time has run out. Thank you both of you for participating in this debate.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another important topic tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.